Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys enjoy my video today. We're going to go through the Warriors versus the Panthers game review. But quickly, before we go to the video, I really want to shout out to every single one of you guys that have been subscribing to my channel. I'm at 500 subscribers today and I'm so happy with everything. Like everyone's showing support to my channel. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I think we hit 500 subscribers a little bit ago, but I just thought to say thank you to everyone that has done it. So also just quickly, I'm so sorry, but I'm not feeling my best at the moment. It's the reason why I didn't do it on Sunday night. I had to do this on Monday. Yeah, so hopefully my voice holds up for this whole video and I don't look so shitty on camera the way I think I might be right now. So hope you guys can get through with me, but let's get through the game of the weekend. So obviously for all my Wars fans out there, you know, we do this every week. We talk about my Wars and we talk about what we did and how we're going and all that sort of stuff. And obviously this weekend we lost to the Panthers 18-6 in a really back and forth game. We had opportunities, but like again, some parts of our attack did look clunky. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but we'll go through the game and how it went, like play by play sort of. Yeah, we'll do it that way. So obviously we started off really strong with a couple of big line breaks. Obviously the first big one with Jackson Ford getting through. Obviously didn't see the guy on his inside, but took it himself. And got a good field position for our backline set play that we put Dallin Watini-Zelezniak nearly hitting that corner, nearly getting in that corner there, which was very slick. It was a good sign to start with that our attack was really nice. Again, on Shorning's edge, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, really did well to set up this next try. But we did another forward shift, so we went 2 in, and I think Tohu hit a short ball on Adam Fanua-Blake. And Fanua-Blake has been scoring tries for breakfast. Like, it's been so good to see Adam Fanua-Blake in this sort of try-scoring form. Really good first start for the Warriors here. I know I think we had a couple of repeated sets and all that. It started off pretty slow, and then next minute we do that to crack the game. So it was really good start for us. And then the game sort of shifted back into our defensive end, and we defended like 3 or 4 sets on our line before the Panthers were able to get through with Dylan Edwards stepping back on the inside on a couple of like lazy tackles. One of them, Jackson Ford, was a bit more of an arm tackle, and the other one was unsuspected with Tohu Harris, because Tohu actually had a really good defensive effort like throughout this whole game. He was amazing. Really helps out our defense. Every time I watch like our team without and with Tohu in, fuck, it's like Starkers. It's like so good to see someone like Tohu Harris come back into our lineup. He just helps out that middle defense amazingly, and also helps out our edge defense cover backline sets, because he just pushes the boys out an extra little bit earlier, so they get to their assignments a little bit earlier. So it's always good to see. But obviously in this moment with Dylan Edwards going through, I think it was just a whole correlation of we had like 3 or 4 sets defended on our line, a couple of ruck infringement penalties and all that sort of stuff. Just, yeah, it didn't really go our way, or ruck infringement 6 again. So that didn't help us in this sort of aspect here. But around now at this time, we brought in Wade Egan for Freddie Lussick, and I thought Lussick had a really good start to the game. Defensively, he was really strong, and obviously, you know, we needed maybe a little bit more spark in attack there with like Wade Egan. His ruck control's a little bit better than Freddie's, but I feel like Freddie's defense and his kicking game, all that sort of stuff. A couple of boys have pointed out in my comment section before. Yeah, Freddie has got a really nice like short kicking game. It's something that we really valued, especially when most of our kicks pretty much nearly all our kicks are going through Shawnee at the moment. So in about the 23rd minute, we had a massive shot from Edward Cossey on Stephen Crichton. Was fucking amazing. So good to see. But the worst part out of it, Cossey came out with a knee injury that hampered him. This was around the 23rd minute of the game. And yeah, it really didn't help him when, like, I think a couple of sets later, To'o went over on that side, and it just really looked like, yeah, Cossey was dealing with that injury. It just was not looking good for Koss. Yeah, and when To'o went over, that cover wasn't there due to that injury and all that sort of stuff. So I haven't seen much news on it at the moment. I haven't seen NRL Physio. I haven't listened to his podcast or anything this morning, early Monday morning, so I'm not too sure. But hopefully with Koss, it's not too bad. It looked like it was just a knee clash that could be like, you know, like some sprain on MCL. I'm not too sure. I'm not a physio, so hopefully Cossey is doing well, because he's been playing really good for us lately. So to end the half, we pretty much went back and forth through the whole like end part of the half there. So it ended up being 12-6 at halftime, and I got to give the boys credit with the amount of I think the Panthers had like a 99 or 100% completion rate, or a 90% completion rate. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head. I wasn't able to note that down, unfortunately. But I know the boys really defended very well against a Panthers team that is possibly the best team in the comp, especially with the injury of Kossi on that edge. I know Kossi is a winger, but when it comes to our backline defense and stuff, Kossi showed his defensive prowess on Stephen Crichton earlier on. And I feel like if he had that knee kind of covered and that, maybe he could have shifted early on Dylan Edwards, just because when they did that backline shift, it was very, very slow due to they're numbering up, trying to put the right pass through, and Dylan Edwards got the ball with a little bit more time than usual. So Koss just was like limpering out there. So negatives, our attack in the first half did look clunky in moments, but it got a little bit worse during the game. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, why that was, but I'll touch on it now. Dylan Walker as a 6, I love him to death. Defensively, he's an amazing 6, but when it comes to attacking that, it seems to just falter on his side, and we seem to be so reliant on SJ at the moment, especially, at that 6 role. Everyone was kind of pointing it out last week. I do agree, but the conditions really didn't I thought we played a really good wet weather defensive game plan. When it comes to this week, the attack did not look amazing. We had moments here. We had big line breaks and all that sort of stuff later on in the game, but yeah, it was crazy. But as I said before, 2 tries for the reigning premiers of the Panthers with a 90% completion rate with a lot of sets done down in our line. I'm pretty proud of the boys for their defensive effort here. Then coming into the second half, it was a back and forth game. It was really back and forth. I really thought defensively we were holding in very, very well. And then Joshy Curran made a really nice line break here, gave it to Wade Egan, but Wade Egan wasn't quick enough to get to that corner there and gets pulled up just before the line. This honestly could have put us up 12-all, and this could have changed the game in our favor, but just didn't go the way we wanted it to go. So that was pretty unfortunate. And then we had our first sin bin of the game with Jackson Ford with that hip drop tackle. Unfortunately, I got to say, consistently, they have called that throughout the year. He did lose his legs. If that's what they want to classify as a hip drop tackle, that's what they classify it as. So unfortunately, it was the right call, and that's just really the way it went. Cleary kicks a penalty goal for 14 to 16, 14 to 6. Fuck, I can't talk right now. So obviously, I felt good when Cleary kicked that goal. I was like, it is what it is. I felt like, a down one man and that they probably would have attacked our line. But then again, because they were only 6 points ahead, I do understand that tactically that was the way they went about it. I do want to touch on before too. I'm pretty sure when we did the Joshy Curran break and all that sort of stuff, I think Shawnee didn't have the best kick at the end of that set there. I think that was the one where he put a little chip in the corner or whatever for Dallin, but it just didn't really, it just was not the right play at all, especially when we had a whole lot of retreating defenders from the Panthers. So I did want to touch on that because Shawnee had a kind of, not a mixed bag, but he had some moments where he didn't do the right play at the right time. But then again, I can't fault him because I feel like he was one of our best out there today. So a little bit later on in the game, SJ had a massive moment where he made a big line break for the middle where they were trying to rush up on him when he was making his kick. Had that really nice step back on the inside and just broke through a couple of tackles. Wasn't able to capitalize on it, unfortunately. And then we had another blunder a little bit later on after this sort of stuff happened. We couldn't capitalize. The Panthers got the ball. They brought it back down to our end. Joshy Curran took a massive hit from Nathan Cleary, and there was a couple other players in that tackle, most likely. Who was it? I can't remember who else was in that tackle, but it was a big hit. Joshy drops the ball, unfortunately, and then a scuffle happens, and Sifakula gets done for a striking action. I cannot how disappointed I am in that call. If you look at the games over the weekend, I saw Jared Warrior-Hargraves slap the shit out of someone during the play on the weekend. If you check in the second half, late second half, he was getting a bit angsty. And it's Sifakula was just trying to grab the collar of the jersey. I do not obviously you don't want to see I don't know. You don't want to the scuffles and all that sort of stuff. It is kind of silly and all that. And Sifakula maybe shouldn't have just been in that scuffle and that. But to call that a striking action and all that sort of stuff, man, I don't know. Cleary's chin is just too big, man. It just gets in the way all the time. But as I said before, just really unfortunate there that we get the second sin bin of the game. So overall, we were down to 12 men for 20 minutes in this game. So 60 minutes of a 13-on-13 game. And I thought we did really well in these opportunities here. But then a little bit later on in the game, we get called for a shocking shoulder charge call. You already know how I feel about that. The Tupanua one last week was exactly the same as this one. Unfortunately, we get called for it, and they do not. And I saw a couple of them on the weekend too. So I don't know, man. It's a really tough call on this one. And then they get a couple of repeat sets. And then Spencer Linu just steamrolls onto a ball to score their try to go 18-6. I don't really want to our defense in that moment wasn't the best. Obviously, we're falling off tackles, but I feel like, fatigue was starting to set in there, and just a good play from Spencer Linu to make that moment happen. But we're pretty lucky at the end there. We're clearly missing his kick and keeping it 18-6 overall. I thought that was a really, really good game for us to keep to 18-6. If you had to tell you, obviously I missed out on another thing. Dallin Watini-Zelezniak going off with the HIA. He had a massive ball on his jaw. Not too sure what the go is with Dallin there. Hopefully he's doing well. Hopefully it's not a broken jaw or anything like that, because it did not look that great. Obviously when you go off like that, you kind of question. There was a couple of other questionable calls. I think obviously Tohu got slapped across the mouth and all that sort of stuff. A couple of moments in this game where we could have got calls, but then again, it just is what it is. It wasn't the worst reffing against us that I've ever seen and all that sort of stuff. But overall, 18-6 against the two-time premiers. They got Fish back. They got Spencer Linu back. They had a full team back. I know attacking-wise, they weren't humming as what they usually are, but they were still a Panthers outfit, and we took them 18-6. We would have seen that game maybe blow out in the last couple of years with the Warriors. I know I'm seeming like I'm kind of, glass half full all the time, all that sort of stuff, but I'm really seeing a lot of positive things out of our team. We just went through a really unlucky period the last couple of weeks, obviously going through the Melbourne Storm where we had that game in the bag. Obviously, then we had the Roosters game where a couple of tries, if it went our way, it would have swayed in our favor if we held on to the ball in a couple of moments. And then in this game where we started so strong, but it just started to fall away with injuries, big injuries to Dallin, and we had Kossi. Then we had Jackson Ford going off pretty much when he got the sin bin, which was the 54th minute, I think, in the game. The 49th minute in the game, sorry. He went out and he never came back because of a HIA feel. Apparently, he wasn't feeling that good in the sheds there. So, yeah, just a lot of big moments in this game, and it just feels like week after week, we're just getting the unlucky stick every week. And it's just so shit, especially when the team is performing so well, the effort wise that we're putting in. And, defensively, we're putting in massive efforts here and we're turning games and we're just having opportunities, but we're just not getting over the line. So a lot of that is coming down to a lot of shifts in our team. And I will touch on that a little bit later on. But obviously the big negatives out of this game, 5-3 penalty count towards the Panthers' favor. We got to clean up our discipline in areas here. 4 ruck infringement calls for the 6 again. Did not help us on our line or anything like that. A lot of it happened on our line. Panthers had 53% during the game and they only scored 18-6. Is a bit more of a positive look on this one. One thing I did take out of it, the Panthers did come into this game with a nice game plan to kick into Chance Nickel-Klokstad really early every time. I didn't really see the other boys get the ball at all off a kick. Usually Chancey got it, and what happened with that is more so they're taking the wind out of Chance, and Chance can't go off the ruck for that 3rd or 4th tackle run that he usually does and builds momentum through the middle. So that was a very, very smart game plan from the Panthers. They played very smart throughout this game. Obviously, injuries. We have Kossi with a knee, Dallin with a jaw. Jackson Ford didn't finish off the game because of a HIA sort of look. So hopefully, he's doing all right. Jackson Ford had a really strong game before this and that. Had a couple of really nice line breaks, but obviously had a couple of defensive blunders and had an error too. So that was pretty disappointing. But, I thought he had a decent game against the Panthers forward pack that, Zach Hosking has been playing really nice on that edge lately, and he had to defend with Cleary and that sort of stuff. Obviously Dylan Edwards bathed him one time, but it is what it is there. I thought Montoya was strong for us today. 196 meters, 4 tackle breaks. I thought AFB was really, really strong. 1 try, 131 meters. 2 tackle breaks, 1 line break. Fucking amazing game from him. I thought Tohu, our spiritual leader, he's amazing. 155 meters, 50 post-contact meters, 2 tackle breaks, 1 try assist, 48 tackles. I thought overall, I think we missed a shitload of tackles in this game, but I think the Panthers also missed a shitload of tackles as well. So it was kind of by the by. Defense was really, really hard and heavy in this game. A lot of big shots. So, it was good to see Tohu get through. 48 tackles is a whole lot of work in the middle. SJ, 2 line breaks, 3 tackle breaks, 841 kick meters. That's a big thing with us in this one. SJ was just our main kicking option, our only kicking option. We will talk about maybe some ins coming back a little bit later on, and maybe that could shift our game plan a little bit. Chancey had an amazing game, 191 meters, 43 post contact, 3 tackle breaks, which is usually a quiet game for Chauncey. With only 1 hit up in this game. This is really what I want to touch on because I noticed that the Panthers wanted to take him out of the game, usually within the rolling sets, and 2 errors, which is pretty unfortunate. So moving on to next week, we obviously got Luke Metcalf that may be looking like he's coming back into this lineup. We do definitely need him back in this lineup. I do honestly believe. I love Dylan Walker at that 6. Obviously defensive wise, he's really good in defense there, but when it comes to attack, it just seems a bit more labored and just doesn't really click the way it usually does on that side. With Metcalf back here, obviously he's got that little bit of spark, that pizzazz. Like, I'm really excited to see him put on that Warriors jersey again, get out there, sidestep some boys, show his speed. I think like off the backline sets, he's going to look really, really nice. He's going to create a whole lot of opportunities. And I saw a lot of like really good passing options and stuff he created in the preseason trial. He just seemed to put the right pass at the right time. So I'm really excited to see him next to SJ, especially this year. And then we'll bring Dylan Walker off our bench for impact. And I feel like a lot of that come in this game as well. I feel like our bench forwards, they played well. Like Sifakula played decent for the amount of minutes he played. Ale played pretty decent for the amount of minutes he's played, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, Curran had to fill in the spots here. Niokora had to go to a center. So like, you know, all that sort of stuff. A lot of changing around at the moment. But with Dylan Walker coming off the bench and just bringing this whole new momentum through the middle, I think that helps us out immensely, especially in our attack. And, you know, obviously maybe we can rest up like someone like a Tohu so he doesn't have to get through as much work and all that sort of stuff. Bring in Dylan Walker and have him ball playing through the middle with Adam Fanua-Blake and all that sort of stuff. Because we saw that at the start of this year where him and Jazzy, Dylan Walker and Jazzy had that ball playing game plan, all that sort of stuff through the middle. And it really worked to our favor. So really excited to see how that goes. I can't fault our attack again in this game. Like I can a little bit, but we've been dealing with a whole lot of injuries that have shifted our game plan completely. Obviously, Kossi leaving the field, Dallin Watini-Selesniak leaving the field, meaning that Niokora had to go to a center role. Joshy Curran had to go into that second row spot. Just shifting a whole lot of boys left, right, and center. We had Adam Pompey on one wing. I don't know. We're just getting hit with the unlucky stick at the moment. Unfortunately, like I'm going to stick proud with the boys. I'm really proud, especially with going up against the Panthers on a dry track. We held them 18-6. That's a plus for me in my book. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a win within the last 3 games and all that sort of stuff, but it is what it is. We're moving on to the next week against the Doggies, where hopefully Luke Metcalf is back in our lineup, and that's what I'm most excited for. Lastly, I do want to say that defense was really strong in this game. I know we missed 59 tackles, but our cover defense was really, really nice. We were shifting really early, and the Panthers missed 47 tackles in this game too. So both very high missed tackle rates. And as I said, our cover was really, really nice. And they had that one big try with Spencer where we were only down to 12 men. So we had a moment to tie it up 12-all too in that matchup. So again, this is all glass half full. I appreciate the boys, the effort they're putting in at the moment. Hopefully we get a nice win before our bye coming up. And we shoot up the ladder again because I think we're sitting 11th at the moment, which is really unfortunate because a lot of teams that are sitting above us have had their bye. If you check it out, they played 9, we've played 10. If we get that bye, we do jump up quite a bit. And then if we get the win next week against the Doggies, we jump up quite substantially. So really excited for the boys coming up. We got a really nice period coming up before Origin as well. Usually we do pip a couple of wins here. I've checked a couple of draws and all that sort of stuff. Our first Origin game, like round 13 game, we got the Broncos. So they've got a whole lot of guys that are going to be going to Origin, hopefully. They still got a couple of big pieces if Walshy maybe stays back. Obviously Adam Reynolds is still going to be there. Ezra Mam, they've still got a really good lineup. But they're going to be depleted with Paddy Carrigan gone, Payne Haas gone, Selwyn Cobbo probably gone, a whole lot of other key pieces there. So I'm really excited to see how we go against the top team in the comp, especially with a couple of outs there. Do get excited for us this season, boys. I'm really, really keen to see the boys continue on the way they're doing right now. We're consistently putting in really good high effort performances. It's just not turning to our wins at the moment due to a whole lot of injuries and maybe rough calls, if you want to call it that too. Just things aren't going our way at the moment, but if we continue to play well what we are, we will win more games than we lose, and I honestly do believe that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure you like, subscribe down below. So sorry for the way I feel right now. I feel like shit, so hopefully I can get a little bit better before my review preview coming on Wednesday. But thank you so much, guys. Take it easy. Peace out.